Hello students and welcome to English class. I'm your English teacher, Mr. Oza, and it is time for us to take a look at classwork number 81. The novel that we are reading here in term 4 is called Siddhartha, and the author is Mr. Hermann Hesse. All right, today we're going to jump into chapter 7, which is called Samsara. Samsara is a word that means the cycle of birth, life, and death. So here are some directions for today's assignment. The same as usual, you've already done a prediction and a question, so thank you for doing that. You are already watching this video, so thank you for doing that. Once this video is done, you're going to read the chapter. It is a 5-page selection, and then you're going to write down 2 main ideas. You're going to write your own questions. You're going to answer them as well. And then you're going to do 1 open response at the end of class today. So, same directions that you're used to. Let's jump right into the pictures. Now, this first picture is meant to be a bit of a review, basically explaining or re-explaining a lot of the concepts that we've already talked about in the book. So, let's do this quick review. In the novel, there is this big river that you might have noticed a couple of chapters ago. But this big river is very, very symbolic in the story. And let me try to explain the symbolism here. In chapters 1, 2, and 3, Siddhartha is very spiritual. He is also very ascetic, meaning he doesn't have a lot of personal enjoyment that he prioritizes. It's all about his religion. In chapter 1, Hinduism in the village. In chapter 2, the middle way with the samanas. And in chapter 3, learning from the Buddha and ending suffering. And so all of that takes place on this left side of the river. And then halfway through the story, he quite literally crosses the river. You might remember the kind of strange dream that he had when he crossed the river and he moved into the material side of the river. After he crosses the river and we move into this next part of the book, all of a sudden he meets Kamala. He meets Kamaswami. He starts caring about love and sex and romance, working, making money, all of these things right over here. He is very into materialism. He's very into personal enjoyment, almost the complete opposite of how he was in chapters 1, 2, and 3. And so you might have noticed it was kind of a small detail, could have spent more time talking about this, but when he transitioned from his spiritual ways into his material ways, he actually physically crossed a literal river. And that river is symbolic. It is basically representing the balance zone, balance between the two worlds, the world of spiritualism and the world of materialism. What is the book trying to teach you here? Book is trying to teach you that you should live in the river. Okay, maybe not directly, like literally in the river, but like, near the river. You should live, again, this is the book suggestion, you should live in the balance zone, a lifestyle that balances out a little bit of spiritualism and a little bit of materialism, a little bit of asceticism, but also time for your own personal enjoyment. So what happens here in Chapter 7 is Siddhartha is so far all the way over on this side of the river. Things get extreme. He gets depressed. He gets very sad, and he is unhappy with his material lifestyle, even though he's got tons and tons of money. He starts drifting, wandering back over towards the river, and he's kind of yearning for his old spiritual lifestyle. So again, this is just a little review of all the stuff happening in the book. He starts over here on the left side of the river, crosses the river into the material world over here on this side, and now he's going to be on his way back towards the zone of balance. And at the end of the day, that's exactly what the book is trying to teach you. Live a life of balance. So here you can see that he's got kind of a sad look on his face. He's got all the gold. He's got a nice outfit. He's really, looking good, but he's depressed. All of these material possessions do not make him satisfied or happy. You will see in the chapter, Kamala has a songbird, a beautiful songbird in a golden cage. In the book, the cage is described as a golden cage. And the symbolism here is that Siddhartha is the bird, and he's trapped in this cage. He's trapped in the cage of gold, the cage of materialism and gold possessions or material possessions, and he can't find his way out of the cage. And finally, eventually, he does find his way out of the cage. And yes, Mr. Oza back at the meme generator. Siddhartha, depressed but super wealthy, he's like, all right, I'm gonna head out. And he leaves this city that he has spent so much time in. It's been, years now that he's had a relationship with Kamala. It's been years that he's been working with Kamaswamy. He's built up so many riches, but he's depressed. And so it's time for him to head out and go back towards the river that we mentioned earlier. So now the same instructions that you guys are used to, it's time for you to read the chapter. You've got 2 main ideas to write down in your document. Then you've got 2 questions to write and, of course, answer them. A level 1 question and a level 2 question. You should be pretty good at that by now. And then on your open response, please make sure that you are using a quote from the novel or anywhere else to support your answer. Just look at the rubric and follow the instructions in the rubric and you'll be all set. So we're now in the back half of this book. I want to thank you as always for watching this video. If you have any questions about the content in this video, I know we did kind of an extended review there on one of the earlier slides. So if you have any thoughts, any feedback, any comments that you want to share, you know where to find me. Thank you so much for watching and have a great class.